In algebra, it's important that you guys first understand what a variable even is before we kind of move on and talk about how we're going to use them. The variable is any letter we put in a number sentence to make sure, or sorry, to take the place of a number that we don't know yet, but will know later. So one example might be something where it looks like this, 3n plus 2. Now, what that's saying is that there's some pattern, and it grows by 3 each time, and then there's 2 more added to it at the end. The other thing is, I don't know how many times it's going to happen yet. So the best example would be to give you a real-life example. A real-life example might be something like if I worked at a clothing store and they gave me a commission. That means they paid me extra for everything I sell. So maybe I'm going to work for an hour, and they're going to give me $7 an hour. So I'm going to get that $7 no matter what. Even if I sell 0 things, I'm going to get that $7. But maybe they also give me $2 for every article of clothing I sell. Now, if someone asks me, how much am I going to get paid? Well, I don't know yet. I don't know until I know how many of that thing I've sold. So I'm going to say that n equals the number of items I sold. If they're giving me, I forget what I said, let's say 3. If they're giving me $3 for every item I've sold, I know 3 times n is going to be how much money I make. This, 3 times n, will be the amount I make from selling, and this plus 7 will be the amount they give me no matter what. So if I sold 0, it would be 3 times 0 plus 7. That's 0 plus 7, which is 7. So I would make $7 if I sold 0 things. If I sold 1 thing, it would be, if n equaled 1, I would 3 times 1 plus 7 is 3 plus 7, which is 10. So you can see I make 3 more for every item I sell, and that makes sense because they're giving me $3 for every item I sell. But this is the type of situation in which we would use a variable, where I need a rule in place so I can figure out how big a number is going to be, but it really depends on how something else turns out that we don't know yet. So one of the fundamental skills you guys are going to need with a variable is you're going to need to be able to jump back and forth between kind of expanded form and a factored form. Now, the best example in terms of a picture to look at that would be any rectangle that's split up in a way, and maybe I know that this one's 4 and I know that this side is 6, but I don't know this side. I have no idea what this line here is or how long it is. So if I don't know how long that is, I have to put a letter there until I can figure it out later. So we'll call that n. So that means that that side's 4, so this side's a rectangle, so that side's 4 as well. This side here will also be n, and that's 6. But if I want to know how much area this whole shape is, everything in here, I could do it 2 ways. I could do it in a way where I figure out this rectangle first and then figure out this rectangle and add them together, or I could treat it like one big rectangle. That would be the second way. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the first way would be like this. Area equals length times width plus length times width. And this will be length 2 times width 2, because this will be rectangle 2 and that will be rectangle 1. So equals 4 times 6 plus n times 4. I should say 4 times n there. Equals 24 plus 4n. And that works totally fine, and that would be the answer I get. The other way would be to treat it like just one giant rectangle. But how long is this side? Well, this part's 6, and this part is n, which is what we don't know yet. But that whole side then would be 6 plus n. And I would just treat that like any other number, like a number 8 or a number 4. You know what? How long is that side? It's 6 plus n. That's one number. So in order to find the area, I do what we always do. We multiply this times this, which means area equals 4 times 6 plus n. Or we could write it like this, which is the way you're going to see more and more. Now, I can expand this, And the way I expand is to take this number times this number and then add it to this number times this number. So it's this and this. And that's often how you'll see it kind of written down. This first one is 4 times 6. Then we're going to bring the plus right down. And then this second one is 4 times n. So that's going to, sorry, I just had to make it a little smaller there. It's going to equal 24 plus 4n. And if you notice, this answer is exactly the same as this answer. It just so happens that this one here, especially in this form, hasn't been expanded yet, and this one has. So those are two ways we can look at a question like this. But the main thing I want you to understand is this operation right here. If there's a number and it's being multiplied by some variable and number being added together, you can expand it by multiplying times the first and then multiplying times the second. That's called the distributive property.